I know you're out there. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
The KrisAnne Hall Show.
Any varmint that crosses that lady's path has met its match. Come on!
Rise and shine, liberty-loving patriots. Welcome to the KrisAnne Hall Show. KrisAnne Hall here, KrisAnnehall.com. I'm a happy camper this morning. I have been at home for several days, which is something that I don't get to do very often. You know how busy we are traveling all over the country, teaching on average about 265 times in over 20 states every single year, which puts me and my family on the road about 3 weeks out of every month. And, my husband is also a pastor. He is not actively pastoring a church right now, but is pastoring within a ministry called Islander Evangelistic Ministries to Haiti, which means usually when we are not on the road in the United States spreading the gospel of liberty, we are in Haiti spreading the gospel of Christ. And so we are a full-time missionary family, and we are just blessed beyond measure. And we've actually got to be home for an extended period of time. God arranged that sort of homestay in just exactly the right time that we needed it. And we've been able to do several great things at home. We've been doing some, those homeowners maintenance issues that simply never, ever go away. And we've had fun. Yesterday we had a water balloon war. I was the small arms dealer, which means I made the water balloons. And they had the war. Now, I don't think I was doing something right as an arms dealer, because all I was doing is working and sweating. I wasn't getting rich, and they were having all the fun. But I didn't know that there is this water balloon thing on the market where you can get 100 water balloons in a minute. I'm not kidding. My son kept talking about this, and we thought, oh yeah, right. No way. It's these balloons, right? They're attached to a stick that attaches to the water hose. And so you fill up the balloon through the stick, and when the balloon is full of water, it slips off the stick and automatically ties itself. I have to buy this because I can't even, it's like $7 for 100 balloons. And I can't even comprehend how that might work. But that would certainly put my arms dealing in a new technological realm. And then, with that kind of supply, the demand that I could reach, I could increase my cash flow, my revenue, and work a whole lot less. See, now I'm really thinking like an arms dealer, aren't I? And then what I should do is simply, when they have their backs turned, start throwing the water balloons at them and then blaming each other, so I can actually instigate the water balloon war that will drive them to me, so then that I could provide them with the balloons that they will need to combat each other. That's how arms dealing works, isn't it? See, you just take these, hey parents, you just take these little everyday fun things and turn them into real life lessons so your kids can understand how real life works. I'm just going to have fun today. Can we have fun today? Oh man, I'm excited. I got my Jeffersonian Encyclopedia this week. Well, I also got, and I'm really so excited, my 10th Amendment Center silver coin and my 110% Tenther lifetime membership card. I am a card-carrying Tenther. How exciting is that? Hey, you know me. I don't talk about other groups often at all. And I don't endorse other groups. I don't even yoke up with other groups very often because, I like my independence. My independence gives me a great deal of liberty. And so I don't allow myself to. That's why I don't endorse candidates. Number one, my family has sacrificed a whole lot to build this ministry, to build a reputation of truth, to build a reputation of reliability, to build a reputation based on constitutional principles, period. And I have seen so many people in so many groups yoke up together for the purpose of self-advancement, right? Or if I yoke up with this group, I can hang on to their coattails and they'll launch me even higher. I'm not interested in launching higher. This is not a fame ministry. This is a faith ministry. And any elevation that I get will have to come from the truth that we teach rather than the coattails of someone else. Because, you see, that coattail can not only launch you, but can also drag you down. And I have seen that happen more often. Because, you see, when I yoke up with another group, I can't control what they say. And inevitably, it gives the opponents to my truth message the opportunity to attack me when someone I've yoked up with doesn't hold to their principles or says something that is an error or something contrary to what I teach. And so it's just safer for me and for the truth and the message that I teach to simply stay independent and not actually yoke up with politicians, because I don't know that I've met any that I would really want to yoke up with anyway. But this is different with the 10th Amendment Center. I have been in direct contact with Michael Bolden, the founder of the 10th Amendment Center, and I am happy to talk about them on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, they are a part of one of my presentations. My state sovereignty presentation has a slide dedicated to the 10th Amendment Center, and I am teaching that to thousands of people across this country, including state legislators. Because, you see, it's the 10th Amendment Center that is sticking to their principles and to the solution of the states. And I got so excited when I got my 10th Amendment Center coin and my 10th Amendment card. And you can get one too. Simply go to 10thamendmentcenter.com and sign up and be a member. You go to, Michael says, he sent me a really nice letter. I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I read it to you. He says, KrisAnne, thank you so much for all the incredible work that you do and for all the support you've given to advancing the cause of liberty. You know, that just, it touches me, makes my heart sing. Oh, man. He says, enclosed here is your 1-ounce silver 10th Amendment Center medallion, exclusively available to TAC members. My best to you and your family for more liberty in 2015 and beyond. Now, on the back, I just dropped it on the floor. Let me go pick it up. On the front of the corn, you have the really cool 10th Amendment Center logo. On the back of the corn, it has a Latin phrase, Concordia, Res Parve, Crescunt. I don't know I can't speak Latin. Give me a break, okay? So somebody tell me on Facebook, on Twitter, how do you properly pronounce that? Anyway, it translates into small things grow by concord, which in the Roman application was small states prosper through unity. That is it. That is the whole principle behind our constitutional republic. That is the whole principle behind our power being superior to the federal government. We are the creators of the federal government. If we are the creators of the federal government, that means by natural law there is a higher power associated, because you can't create something less than yourself. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. You can't create something greater than yourself. And so because the states created the central government, natural law and natural order dictates that the central government has a lesser power than the states. And that's how we maintain our power over the federal government, is through unity. And my letter is signed Michael Bolden, 10th Amendment Center. It says, if anyone asks you how to get a TAC membership, you can send them here. Go to 10thamendmentcenter.com/members. I don't endorse organizations very often. And so, that's funny. That reminds me of that Dos Equis commercial, right? She doesn't endorse organizations often, but when she does, it's the 10th Amendment Center. I told you I'm in a silly mood this morning. Leave me alone. So seriously, if you support any other group besides Liberty First, please give your support to the 10th Amendment Center, because they are doing what they're doing for our children, for the preservation of liberty, so that we can prosper as a constitutional republic and stop this trend of being a federal monarchy. I want to thank Michael Bolden for my coin. It is going to be a treasured piece of my possessions. And I'm going to also be a actively card-carrying member. By the way, I think, Michael, doesn't this actually seal my fate as a recognized domestic terrorist by the Department of Justice? I not only travel around and teach the truth about the Constitution and the limited nature of the federal government. I believe in liberty. I believe in sovereignty. But now I'm a card-carrying tenther, which means I wonder if I'll be able to fly anywhere now. I wonder if there's some little alarm that will go off when when my bag goes through the TSA. You know what I need to do, Michael? I need to put a hole in this and attach this to my carry-on luggage so that the TSA has to know how I identify myself. Hey, Michael, there you go. Luggage tags for the 10th Amendment Center. I just invented something new. God bless.
KrisAnne Hall Show. She's Liberty's lobbyist.
So I started the show, and now I'm going to drink a cup of my coffee, right? I am a tea snob. I am a coffee snob, and I drink self-made lattes in the morning. I have this beautiful little Cuban coffee pot. I don't know if you've ever seen one. It's just simply a miniaturized percolator. You put the water in the bottom, you put a little metal piece full of your coffee grounds in the top, you screw it together, you put it right on the burner on the stove, and it percolates and makes the best coffee. And the best coffee I have found is only available in one place on the planet: Île Vache, Haiti. Yes, that is where our mission team goes, to Île Vache. It's a little island off the coast of Haiti. If you have ever seen Île Vache, then you will know what I'm talking about. Have you ever seen the show Fantasy Island? That's what Île Vache looks like when you're pulling up into the harbor. It doesn't look like that when you actually get on the island, because the poverty there is just inexplicable. But Île Vache is a beautiful, beautiful island, and filled with beautiful, beautiful people. And that's our other mission, Islander Evangelistic Ministries. We have adopted a village in Île Vache called Soulette, and we are helping them establish a means to have fresh water, to have a building with actual walls and a roof where they can meet and have school and have church and have a place to shelter in storms, and to have a water collection facility. So we're going to build cisterns around this building so we can collect water when the storms come, and they don't have to get their water from a muddy hole, because that's what they do. They have no electricity. And so we're praying about somebody who owns a solar panel company who will help us in this ministry provide solar power to this community. And so my coffee comes from Elavash, Haiti. Don't tell anybody, okay? Don't tell anybody, because I hate to have customs agents bearing in on my door because I have coffee from Haiti that hasn't been regulated by the FDA. Oh my goodness. God forbid that we have something that's not regulated by the FDA or by the Department of Agriculture. You know what's interesting about my coffee from Haiti? I can't have caffeine. I've talked about my dietary issues before. We're not going to spend any time on that. You got to go find the episode if you want to hear about that. Or contact me on Facebook or Twitter and I will tell you. But I can't have caffeine. And so I hunt down good decaffeinated coffee. The interesting thing about this coffee from Elavash is that it's naturally decaffeinated by their roasting process. I have no idea what they do, but this is the strongest, the boldest coffee that I have ever had. I actually make it as an espresso because it's so strong, and it has no caffeinated effect whatsoever. And as somebody who has not had caffeine for almost 2 years, I'm going to tell you what, I know when somebody slips me caffeine. This coffee is just amazing. And so, you have to go to Elavash. If you want to go to Elavash and be part of our mission team, then you need to contact us, because we'd be happy to tell you how to join the IEM Ministries mission team to Haiti and help us establish a self-sustaining, God-depending community rather than a government-dependent community as the UN and the Haitian corruption would like to create. Interestingly enough, my coffee is safe because Haiti has outlawed GMOs. Yeah, isn't that awesome? The island of Haiti, the country of Haiti, has told Monsanto, your GMOs are illegal here. Imagine that. A third world country of Haiti being more intelligent about their health than America, than our legislators. You know, I talked about this the other day, this GMO thing. And we talked about the new law that was voted. I guess it hasn't actually been ratified by the Senate yet, has it? It was passed by the House. It's called the Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act of 2015. And our House voted in overwhelmingly this Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act of 2015. Now, you know, as members of the Liberty First Brigade, when you see legislation with the words safe or accurate or sounding good like it's good for you, you need to be highly suspicious already.
So don't let them steal your light. Don't let them break your stride. There is light on the other side. You'll see all the raindrops falling. It's a revolution.
The KrisAnne Hall Show. She's Liberty's lobbyist.
Being home does my spirit good, doesn't it? Being home and spending some quality time with family, unplugging as much as I can. We went into town and sat down at a little fast food-ish type restaurant in our local town. We had just mailed off a bunch of book orders. I was so blessed. Oh my goodness, to all the book orders that you guys are doing. Hey, keep up the work. I am hoping, you know what I need to do? I need to put together numbers of my new book, Sovereign Duty, numbers of books that we have sold. You know, we don't sell in bookstores, so we don't have the New York Times best-selling list capability. I hope maybe we should be able to find a real publisher who is interested in this type of stuff, and maybe we could do that and get real statistics. But I need to put together some statistics and find out how many copies we've sold, because my book, Sovereign Duty, is just going crazy in our small little market, and I want to thank you for that. If you have not read Sovereign Duty, you have to. You have to. And so we just finished mailing off these book orders, and we were sitting in the little restaurant, and we sat down, and lo and behold, there was a circuit court judge sitting right in front of me, a judge that I'd worked with for almost a decade, a really good man, a really good Christian man. And we started chatting about local affairs and some local things that were going on. And he said, "Hey, KrisAnne, who do I need to vote for president?" Now, you at the Liberty First Brigade are laughing because you know what my answer is going to be. I said, "Judge, I don't care." I said, if we think changing out who occupies the White House is going to fix any of our problems, we have no idea what our problems are. I said, I'm sick of this obsession that we have over presidential elections. I said, we need to be focused on the real things that are going to solve real problems. This presidential election thing is just an illusion to keep us distracted from our real power and the real solutions that we have in front of us. And so I gave him a copy of my book, Sovereign Duty, and I believe that he will read. I believe he will appreciate the truth that's within it, because I've always found him to be a man who was considerate of original intent and a man of great honor. And I believe men who are seeking the Constitution, I mean that in a generalized non-gender format, right, men? People, how's that for our feminazis? People who are seeking truth and seeking real solutions will have no choice but to appreciate what's in the Sovereign Duty book. And so I guess I just segued into a little advertisement for my book, but nonetheless, it is what it is because I believe in it. I really, really do. And I want to talk to you a little bit this afternoon about this Safe Food Act, okay? Because there's something in this language, I know we've talked about this before, but I want to show you this because this is a good lesson on how to read legislation. Because this is a very short bill, and it doesn't waste any time getting to the real problems with this type of legislation. And so go online and look up this bill, H.R. 1599. And this bill, they always start with a short title, and the short title says, may be cited as the Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act of 2015. You know when they use the word safe or accurate that you need to be suspicious right away. They are hiding something. The process is through the Department of Agriculture, and it gives all the definitions and the sections. It has a special section called the Savings Clause, which says nothing in this act or the amendments made by this act is intended to alter or affect the authorities or regulatory programs, policies, and procedures otherwise available to, or the definitions used by the FDA under the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, or the Animal and Plant Inspection. So we're going to create this law, but we're not going to change anything that we're already doing. God forbid we change anything. So the consultation process, it says, will come through the the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act is amended by inserting Section 423, Section 424, which is now this act, right? So now we're going to talk about what's going to happen. The Secretary shall continue to administer the consultation process established under the Food and Drug Administration's policies. For the purpose of subsection A, this is absolutely stunning. Okay, so now we're in the very first section, section 424, subsection B, subsection 1, head title, in general. Listen to this. For purposes of subsection A, the use of genetic engineering does not, by itself, constitute information that is material for the purposes of determining GMOs. Are you freaking kidding me? The use of genetic engineering does not by itself constitute information that is material for the purposes of determining whether there is a difference between a food produced from, containing, or consisting of a genetically engineered plant and a comparable food? So the fact that you've used genetically engineering is irrelevant to this act. Labeling required, it says in subsection 2. The Secretary may require that the labeling of food produced from, containing, or consisting of a genetically engineered plant contain a statement to adequately inform consumers of a difference between food so produced and its comparable food if the Secretary so determines. So remember, being a GMO doesn't necessarily mean you're a GMO, and therefore the Secretary may require labeling of your GMO if the Secretary determines that there's a material difference in function, nutritional, or compositional characteristics, allergenicity, or other attributes between food so produced and its comparable food. But, keeping in mind, in the previous subsection, having genetically modified ingredients and being a genetically modified food does not require them to consider that as being genetically modified. And by the way, we're allowing the federal government to determine whether this food is nutritional, has different compositional characteristics, allergenicity. This is the same federal government that says vaccinations have no correlation with autism, and yet creates an entire agency whose sole purpose is to compensate families whose children have become autistic because of vaccinations. That is absolutely crazy. We have put the federal government in the role of subsection B, protect public health and safety, and yet they are the perpetrators of our health and safety demise. Ooh, that's interesting, isn't it? Well, now, this act, remember, being a GMO doesn't mean that you're a GMO, and it's up to the FDA to determine whether your GMO-ishness actually is a health problem. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the theft of actual authority from the states. Section 113 says, regardless of whether regulations have been promulgated under Section 112, beginning on the date of the enactment of this act, no state or political subdivision of a state may directly or indirectly establish under any authority or continue in effect as to any food in interstate commerce as any requirement with respect to the sale or offering of sale for interstate commerce of a genetically engineered plant for use or application in food that is not identical to the requirements of the FDA, the Department of Agriculture, any of that. So if the states want to require stricter labeling standards and want to force their own companies to label, or anybody who sells in their state to label, if the Secretary of Ag or the FDA says, no, you can't do that, then the states are expected to simply allow those GMOs to be sold without the people knowing all about it. Hiding the fact. Well, of course, the federal government's worried about our safety, right? Worried about our health, so they would never let that happen. Listen to the big loophole in this entire act. They have a section called non-regulated genetically engineered plant. meaning we're admitting that it's genetically modified, but it's not going to be regulated. How would we have a genetically modified food that is not going to be regulated? Well, this law says any GMO for which the Secretary of Agriculture has approved a petition under the section for the determination that the genetically engineered plant should not be regulated. So when your lobbyists with the big corporations lobby the Secretary of Agriculture, he can now deem that their GMO, even though it's a GMO, is not a GMO to be regulated, which means that the states are forbidden to identify that non-regulated GMO because the Secretary of Agriculture says so. Forbidden to label it. And they're supposed to be keeping us safe? And this is what your conservative, constitutionally minded House of Representatives voted for. This is what your Congress believes will keep us safe. Regulation that protects big corporate money and then will deny small businesses, small fat manufacturers, small seed growers their opportunity to actually label and protect their product. That shouldn't surprise us because Congress has protected Monsanto before, and so have the courts. And they'll do it again. And we're supposed to be okay with that because the government is out there keeping us safe and is concerned about our health. And they would never want to lie to us, right? Oh, only when it stuffs their pocket with money. Is that what happened to you, Ted Yoho?
Hate me if you won't, or love me if you can. If the truth is what you want, then you found your man. I ain't backing down, I ain't backing up. If you think like I think, then crank it on up. I won't back up, I don't back down. I've been raised up to stand my ground. Take my job, but not my guns. Tax my check till I ain't got none. Except for the good Lord up above. I answer to no one.
The KrisAnne Hall Show. She's Liberty's lobbyist.
So this is why I went through this trouble to actually go through this bill and show you these sections because, see, I'm not here to entertain you every day. I'm here to recruit you and teach you and bring you into the Liberty First Brigade so you can pick up these bills and teach them and understand them and teach them on your own. This is so very, very important that we understand what these things say because our representatives are not reading them. My representative, Ted Yoho, vehemently supported his vote and defended his vote for this bill. This is absolutely ridiculous that a man who professes to be a constitutional conservative, a Tea Party candidate, would vote for something like this and then defend his vote and not even be willing to question this issue. And that's how we get these problems. The Supreme Court ruling over us. Oh yeah, well, we'll run to the Supreme Court for this too, I'm sure. We run to it to define marriage for us. We're going to run to it to define food for us. And how is this going to help us every time we submit to the federal government's authority? Well, I want to tell you something really, really wonderful that is happening in the House. I don't know if this is rhetoric, I don't know if this is grandstanding or just showmanship, but nonetheless, it's something that we need to pick up and push. Republican Representative Mark Meadows from North Carolina Tuesday evening filed, quote, a motion to vacate the chair. He has filed a motion to oust House Speaker John Boehner. And this is something that we need to push. You want to know something you can get behind in Congress? You could get behind Meadows' resolution, and we need to get on that right now. We need to be on the phone, in our emails, contacting Meadows because his resolution accuses John Boehner of having, quote, endeavored to consolidate power and centralize decision-making, end quote, and using, quote, the power of the office to punish members who vote according to their conscience instead of the will of the Speaker, end quote, along with other offenses. And we need to be on the phone right now, calling Meadows, calling our representatives saying, you better co-sponsor this, you better join on to this. I don't care if it's rhetoric. I don't care if it has no effect. I have no care of whether it has no chance of even passing. You had better get on board with this and make sure we know where you stand, because John Boehner is a wicked, wicked man, and he has no business representing the people as the Speaker of the House. And I'm serious. I'm going to give you Meadows' number and contact information right now. So contact Meadows in Washington, D.C., and the phone number is area code 202-225-6401. 202-225-6401. And his fax number is 202-226-6422. 202-226-6422. Now, he has one of those email programs on his website that if you're not a constituent, you can't email him. I think those things should be against the law. If we're going to make dictated laws, we should not allow our representatives to only accept emails from their constituents, because they accept money from everywhere else, too. So they must accept input from everywhere else. So, again, 202-225-6401. Get on the phone today and call him. Fax instead of email, 202-226-6422. Just send a little fax. You can do that through your computer now. Just send a free fax. And so we need to bombard his office with support, and we need to bombard our representatives with forced coercion to sign on to Meadows' resolution to oust John Boehner. You're always looking for something to do. We're always saying, KrisAnne, what can we do? Hey, this is something that we can do that gives a resounding call once again. Stand behind Meadows and give him the support that he needs to actually see this happen. It is time that we stand up, people, and start ousting these traitors. Boehner is such a wicked, wicked blight on this country, and I wouldn't cross the street to spit in his eye. I have absolutely no respect for the man. I'd be afraid I'd catch something if I got too close. So listen, it is time for us to stand, and this is something that we can do. God bless. See you tomorrow.